I call the honourable member, Pisata Sam Lotu-Iiga. Malo soifua.
Malo soifua, and Happy New Year, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to speak on this, the Prime Minister's statement to Parliament yesterday. And sir, I support the direction that our Prime Minister has set for this nation, because clearly he is the only person equipped to lead this country at this critical time in our history. And sir, I just want to just make mention of the previous speaker here, Mr. Twyford, and I want to know from Mr. Twyford around his housing policy, whether he lives in his villa in Waitakere, whether it's the bungalow in Kingsland, whether it's the apartment block in Auckland Central, or whether it's his flat in Mount Albert, because clearly the guy's confused. But I'm glad he's found a home finally in Te Atatu, and I wish him well in his new residence there. But unlike the divided opposition over there, this national-led government has a strong plan and a full agenda to encourage investment, strengthening the economy and boosting jobs for all New Zealanders. Sir, it's about building a bolder, a brighter and a better future for all Kiwis. And we're building on the momentum, sir, that was achieved over the last 4 years, which is more important than ever in the current economic climate. And context, of course, is important. And around the world, we know that the recovery from the global financial crisis is proving most difficult. We know that Greece continues to reel in crisis. We know the United Kingdom is going through a triple-dip recession, and expectations of world economic growth are being downgraded on a consistent basis. So that's why, sir, the economy and jobs is front and centre in this government's priorities. And we know what the government's plan is because many of my colleagues have outlined it. It's about returning to surplus and reducing our debt. It's about pushing ahead with reforms to bring about a more productive and competitive economy. We've got to support our friends and our family in Christchurch, and it's about driving better results from our public service. But why, may you ask, and I think that the opposition members there must ask this question every day, why is economic growth important? Because I don't hear one person over there talk about the benefits of economic growth. And economic growth is about providing jobs and opportunities. It supports and feeds and clothes our families and our communities. Economic growth, sir, is about enabling us to sustain the quality of life that we as New Zealanders are accustomed to in this country. But critically, sir, economic growth is about paying our way in this world. So the latest economic forecasts, the Treasury's half-year economic and fiscal update, as well as the latest Reserve Bank monetary policy statement, show that our economy will be growing 2.5% on average over the next 3 years. At that rate, of course, New Zealand is expected to grow more strongly than the Euro area, the United Kingdom, Japan and Canada. And locally, as the member for Maunga Kia, the message to me is personal and it's clear. Last year I surveyed 46,000 constituents. Yes, sir, that is every constituent in my electorate. And unequivocally, the most important issue to the 2,000 people that responded to that survey was that job opportunities and economic growth must be my priority and it must be our government's priority. So there is a big opportunity in New Zealand over the next few years. It revolves around the rebuilding of Christchurch, and obviously we're going to train more New Zealanders in vocational careers that will set them up for their lives. And I've heard members opposite ask, where are the jobs? Well, sir, the SEEK website at 4 o'clock this afternoon showed just under 15,000 jobs available. Over 12,000 were full-time, 1,000 were part-time, and there were 1,700 contract jobs on the table. So these are just the jobs that are publicly notified. We know that there are many more jobs which are either advertised in-house within companies or by word of mouth. So the issue, sir, is not about jobs. It's about matching the skills of those who need work with the jobs that are available in our country. And so the question arises as to what the government is doing about this situation. Well, we've outlined our 5 new vocational pathways that clearly signpost the subjects young people should take to prepare for vocational careers in construction, manufacturing, the primary sector, the service sector, as well as social services. There will be over 4,000 places available in trades and services academies, 8,700 youth guarantee places. You see, these kids who are not able to go down the academic path, but they have a future nevertheless. And I know that locally in Maungakiekie, we've got services and trades academies at Onehunga High School and Tamaki College that are providing great pathways for my local youth. We're also training more engineering and science students in preparation for industries more suited to high-tech, value-added export jobs of the future. And as I talk to my local companies, Raycon, Sistema, TrueTest, Massport, these are the types of jobs of the future that our graduates and our young people will be graduating to. We're also revitalising industry training to ensure that people have the right skills and training and that our system is responsive to trainees and employers. We're particularly focused on increasing opportunities for in-work training for all Kiwis, and we're doing this by expanding and improving our apprenticeship training system. The Prime Minister outlined in his speech on the weekend that there will be an additional 14,000 new apprentices starting training over the next 5 years. And this is over and above the 7,000 who enrol each year. Those are the sorts of jobs and training schemes that local people want to aspire to. And this will cost $106 million over the next 4 years. As Chair of the Social Services Committee, I also want to emphasise the importance of the welfare reforms in this government's agenda this year. May I commend the great work that Minister Bennett is doing for our most vulnerable children and the work that went into the Green Paper and the White Paper in terms of the work program that we've set in the next 2 years, which will help vulnerable children, their families and our communities. It's fair to say, sir, that the hands-off approach of the last government left the social development portfolio in a right mess. So I'm proud of the work that we've done in focusing on what people can do, not what people can't do. And how are we doing that? How are we doing that? Well, Mr. Cunliffe asked how we're doing it. We're giving them the tools and the resources to be able to support themselves and transition off welfare and into paid work. This has meant greater obligations and incentives for teen beneficiaries, requiring them to get into education, training, work-based learning. We've also got payment cards to help manage benefit payments and support better financial choices, one-on-one mentoring and wraparound support, as well as budgeting and parenting courses. And we're implementing this through an investment approach, because by putting more money up front, we're moving people long-term out of welfare and into jobs. And remember, we know those jobs exist. In the last year alone, sir, there were 29,648 18 to 24-year-olds that left the benefit to go into paid work. And that compares under the Labor government in 2008 with 14,800. Yes, that's right. Twice as many are going out of benefit and into paid work. And in the last 4 years alone, 305,000 people left the benefit to start paid work. So clearly we're getting people working again. Our welfare reforms are working, and the second round of these reforms are on the way. Part of those reforms are where the benefit categories are being streamlined, we're implementing more effective work testing and drug testing of beneficiaries, and we're putting in place social obligations for those who receive assistance from the state. So while Labor unleashes its underwhelming policies from last year, this government continues to make a real difference to those that need, deserve and receive help. More than 19,500 young people have benefited from our job opportunities and Community Max schemes. 9,000 young people have started job streams. So we know, rather than spread employment support thinly across different groups, our approach has been to target those most at risk remaining on welfare long term. And the other thing that I'm really proud about of our government is that we've had a one-off boost of $589,000 to 155 budgeting services across New Zealand. So that's $9.5 million spread across our communities to help families control their finances. And again, in my electorate office in Lotu-Iiga and the clinics that I hold across my electorate, that is one of the most critical issues we're dealing with, how working families and beneficiaries manage their finances. Finally, sir, I just want to say we're going to help vulnerable families, as our Minister Bridges has said, in need of reforms to be related to be released later this year around loan sharks, by introducing the concept of responsible lending and enabling consumers to make informed decisions. Thank you, sir.